The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing?
Good, Sean. Good to be here early April talking high school sports with you again, starting to wind toward the championship season in a couple of our sports and getting near the end in some of the others. So starting to be an exciting time of year here in Southeast Georgia.
Exactly, Kevin. And this past weekend, Camden County was named state champions in riflery, which we'll get to that a little bit later on. But one of our sports, Kevin, that are fixing to go into playoffs is our soccer teams. And so some of these regions have already been determined. They've already got their bracket set. They're already seated in place. And then some of these teams are playing the rest of the week out. So soccer playoffs are going to start next week. So we're just going to do a little recap of where everybody stands and who to kind of keep an eye on as we go into the soccer playoffs. And we'll start at down at the bottom and come to the top. We'll start at Class 1A, Division 1, where our Bacon County Red Raiders, 4-0 in the region right now. Bacon County playing great soccer. Their girls also won their region, ranked number 2 in the state. Now, they do not have them bracketed yet as a seed, but I'm pretty sure Bacon's going to go into the playoffs there as the number 1 seed.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see how far they can go. Obviously, they've had a great season, and they'll wait to see who their opponent is, but that does mean they'll be at home if they are indeed a top seed. So always nice to play at home, particularly in those early rounds, and make somebody come play you on your home field. So after a great regular season, we'll see if Bacon can follow it up with a pretty strong postseason as well.
Exactly. Then we're moving up to class single A Division II. McIntosh County, right there in your neck of the woods, Kevin. McIntosh ranked number 15 in the state, 4-2 in region. They're already seeded in the playoffs. Going to go into playoffs as a number 2 seed, so they are going to get that all important first round home game.
Yeah, and the young soccer program there building quickly, so it will be nice to see them playing at home early and see if they can have some postseason success. And it's been a interesting time for that young program already. So to have some early success in the playoffs would be great as well.
Exactly. Moving on up to 2A, we've actually got 3 teams right here in our 912 coverage area, right in the mix of it. Pierce ranked number 16, Jeff Davis ranked number 17, and Toombs ranked number 19. Pierce coming into the playoffs 10-4, Jeff Davis at 10-2, and then Toombs at 8-6. So all these programs having a winning season, but there's some of those regions, Kevin, that are still battling out this week for playoff seeding. So that stuff's not set in place as of yet.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting about that region, right, Sean? I mean, it seems like a dogfight in every sport. Jockeying for position all the way down, to the final whistle there, and it's probably going to be that way in every sport for years to come. I know it was kind of that way in football this past fall, and it's that way here again in the spring. Just some real good competition right there in that region. So when they get ready to go into state, they've been used to being in close games and playing down to the wire in their own region. So should have them well prepared regardless of how they stack up going into the postseason, into the state tournament.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on 2A and see how everything shakes out. But let's move on up to 3A. We've got number 9, Long County. Long County coming into the playoffs 4-2 in the region right now, but still playing for that seed. So we'll see exactly where they fall. But Long being in the top there, I think they're probably going to go in as a 1 or a 2. So we'll see how this week plays out and where they land.
Yeah, and I think I saw Long a couple of years ago against Glenn. I can't remember if it was boys or girls, but respectable program over there in Long. Might have been both boys and girls now that I think about it. And, have had some soccer success. So good to see that, they're still playing well over there. And we'll see if they can make some noise and represent Southeast Georgia here in the state tournament as well.
Exactly. We're going to jump up to 5A now. 5A right now, Bradwell number 13 in the state. Statesboro also ranked number 25 in the state. Bradwell 7-3 on the season. Statesboro right behind them there at 6-4. This seeding has been set. Bradwell is going to go in as a 2. Statesboro is going to go in as a 3. Greenbrier is the number 1 team in that bracket, and Ware also is going to go into the playoffs at number 4. But really some really good teams there in 5A for soccer this year.
Yeah, and I know the higher you go, you start getting into that Metro Atlanta area. Where there are more than a couple of really strong teams, in South Metro Atlanta and North Metro Atlanta. So the deeper you go into the brackets in the upper classifications, for sure, definitely the tougher it gets. So hopefully some of these 5A teams can have some success early on and get into some of those tougher matchups.
Exactly. Then we're going to jump up to 6A, Kevin, the number 1 team in the state of Georgia, the Glenn Academy Red Terrors, right there in your backyard. South Effingham right behind them there, ranked number 8 in the state. Glenn Academy goes into the playoffs 11-1. And then you got South Effingham right behind them there at 9-3. Now, this seeding has not been set for the brackets yet. At the time of this taping, so we'll see how things play out this week. But Glenn, a solid number 1. Bobby Brockman, just year after year after year, Kevin just keeps turning out great soccer teams over there in Glenn Academy.
Yeah, they're just basically reloaded again. A lot of good firepower in the offensive positions. They're always solid defensively. I think Coach Brockman kind of likes to do it old school. He's going to make sure he's good on the back end and but always seems to have a prolific score too, and but again, they're real solid from back to front as far as I know. And obviously he does a great job with that program and builds around the strengths that he does have and hides the weaknesses if he has any year in and year out. And been another good season for them. Of course, they'll run into some of those tougher Metro Atlanta schools the deeper they go as well. But hopefully Glenn can get a couple of rounds under their belt and, make it deep into the state playoffs again. But certainly they've had a good regular season and would like to see them add to it with a couple of wins at least, and then see what they can do the deeper they get into the postseason.
Yeah, the only thing better than that number one ranking, Kevin, would be at that state title for sure. So we'll see if the Red Terrors can get it done. Moving on up to 7A, we've got Richmond Hill comes into the to the playoffs, ranked number 13 in the state, the number 2 team there out of their region. They go in with a 6-2 record. So Richmond Hill looking to make some noise in the state tournament as well.
Yeah, and of course, they're moving up in classification, so this will be a new experience for them. They've had some good, teams in the recent past playing in that Glen Academy region, went head to head with the Red Terrors, as one of the better teams in Region 2 6A in the recent past. So now they're up in 7A, going to go up a class. So again, the deeper they go into the state playoffs, they're going to run into some top-notch squads. So hopefully they can hold their own. I really don't know much about Richmond Hill this year, other than they are stepping up in classification. Of course, they play with Camden County and those schools over there in the Valdosta area, Lowndes and Tiff, not Tiff, but Lowndes and Valdosta and Colquitt County. So obviously they're doing well in region. We'll see how they do on the state level.
Yeah, Colquitt right now, the number 1 team in that region. I think Colquitt's like third or fourth in the state. So they've got a really good soccer program, but Richmond Hill right there in the mix with it. So we'll see how things shake out. But Kevin, that's going to wrap it up for the soccer. And we teased it at the beginning of the before we got into soccer. Rivalry. Rivalry held their state championships this past weekend. It was up at Dahlonega in North Georgia College, and our Camden County Wildcats from right down the road there from you, down there in St. Mary's, come away with their first ever state title. So congratulations to Coach Banna and the team down there. They did a fantastic job. I mean, this program, Kevin's been on the rise for the last several years. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, they were able to knock Ware County off, who had not lost a regular season match in something like 8 years. Was able to beat Ware County again this year and took this team all the way to state. And actually, Kevin, while they were there, set a new state record, shooting an 11.75. Ware previously held that record at 11.74. So just a really, really good shooting team down there for Camden County. And they get to hoist the cup, and they are the state champions for 2023.
You're right. This has been a program that's been building. This has some success, but they haven't been able to kick the door through, if you will, at the state championship level. But they've been right there, and this year they got it done. You said that new state record, beat it by a point, and so obviously their name's in the record books now, and everybody's shooting for them in terms of that state best score. But had 3 kids right there at the top amongst the best individual scores: Jordan DeJesus, I guess, Abigail Swain and Virginia Bird. And then they also had Wyatt Hicks, who was among the top scorers. So when you have kids shooting good individually, that all adds up to that great team score. So, Camden County has been good all year. They've been peaking, trending in the right direction, and they went up there and got the job done. You have to get it done on that day,
Exactly.
And they did. And they went up against the state's best, and they stared them right in the face and, knocked it out and got the job done. And, oh, by the way, set a new state record in terms of their score in the process. And then, Sean, I did, in doing my research, I did see where a Statesboro kid, Caden Sullivan, also was among the top 5 scorers individually there for Statesboro. So just wanted to throw her name in there for doing well for one of our other Southeast Georgia coverage area teams.
Yeah, and Ware finished 7th overall. So congratulations to those guys. They were right back in the mix. I mean, Ware right now sitting, I think, with 4, either 5 state titles in rivalry since Coach Maurice England's taken over that program. But Ware right there in the mix. But it's all about Camden County this year. Kevin, they come away. They beat. You said that you mentioned that new state record score 11.75. They beat Lumpkin County, who shot 11.61, and East Coweta, who shot 11.52. Those were the 3 teams that shot for the state championship. And like I said, Camden was able to get it done. And you mentioned Jordan DeJesus. She came in 3rd overall in the state, shooting a 3.93. Jordan pretty much led Kevin all year long in almost all 3 positions. I know she finished 1st in 2 of them, and I think she finished 2nd in one of the positions. I can't remember which one it is. They do the standing, the prone, and the kneeling are the 3 positions that they shoot from. She was 1st in average all year long, and then I think wound up at the end of the season finishing 2nd in one of those positions.
Yeah, and you mentioned those Lumpkin County kids. I mean, Lumpkin had some of the top individual scores, so they had one of the better teams, of course, but it was really Camden's depth, I think, that made the difference. Yep. They had more kids up there at the top, and that's what pushed them to the top. So it was really Camden's team depth that kind of was a team effort. I guess you could say a lot of kids contributed and did well. Like you said, Jordan did well in all 3 phases, and it took that for them to win. And if you look at her, we'll have more on her coming up later in the spring as well. We're going to feature her in an upcoming issue of our magazine, but she's a well-rounded kid, gets it done academically and athletically there for Camden. You sent me some information on her already, and just a long list of accolades in the classroom and there in competition. So good to see athletes like that excelling all the way around. And she went up there and got it done. And the kids needed every bit of what she gave them, and got a lot of help from her teammates. And it was just, again, a great team effort, kind of like that wrestling team. Camden. So it's been a good start to 2023 for Camden. Hopefully we'll continue on into, what's coming later on. In the I guess it'll be next school year, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
But you're right. I mean, and like I said, Camden got a real young team. I think only one of those shooters are a senior. I think the rest of those cats are coming back for the 2024 season. So it'll be interesting to see if they can repeat next year. It'll be, it's a lot of pressure to repeat, but hey, the possibilities there when you've got 3 out of your 4 shooters coming back looks pretty good. So, but Kevin, let's take a break. We're going to talk about some more high school sports here in the 912 right after these messages. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks again for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke. He's Kevin Price, and we started off the first section with the boys soccer playoff outlook. We're going to go into the girls soccer outlook now, Kevin. We'll do the same thing. We'll start down in region our single A and Division 1. Again, the Bacon County girls, Kevin, just like the Bacon County boys, having a great season, 4-0. They're already seeded up against their opponents for the first round of the playoffs. They're going to go in as a 1 seed, and they're going to be playing the number 4 seed, former foe right down the road in Swainsboro. So that'll be a good matchup there in round 1. But the good thing about it is the Red Raiders get that first game at home.
Yeah, same thing. Being at home is a huge plus. They've obviously had a great regular season. Now we'll see if they can build on it. And, it's the same thing in the lower classifications. A lot of really good, private schools around that metro Atlanta area. So the deeper they go, depending on how the matchups are and how they come out, they'll run into some of those schools, later on down the line. But, good to see Bacon County, having a great regular season, and we'll see if they can add to that with some postseason wins.
Exactly. Moving on up to Single A Division 2, Kevin, right down the road again for you. We're keep talking about those Buccaneers and that young program, but the girls Buccaneers team's got a really a superstar and Maddie McMahon on it. We're going to see a little bit more of her later on this year. MCA right now 9-1, Kevin, in region play, number 3 team in the state there in Division 2. They've already got their seeds. They're going to go into playoffs as a number 1 seed. And curiously enough, Kevin, they're actually going to get a bye in the first round. So they don't even have to play anybody to move on to round number 2. But congratulations to the Lady Buccaneers down there. Really, really great season there on the pitch.
Yeah, again, good young program. You mentioned their star. we'll have her. She's had a stellar athletic career there at McIntosh up in Darien, playing several sports and lettering in those sports. So we'll feature her in an upcoming issue of our magazine as well. But yeah, I don't know if they have any injured players, if they have any certain, things they need to work on, but they'll get a little extra time to do that here at the end of the season, get healthy, get rested, and get ready to go into the state tournament, hopefully at 100%.
Exactly. Moving on up to AA, looking at the Pierce County Bears. Pierce County 13-1, ranked number 4 in the state, Kevin. Their seeding is still playing out there. Still got some games this week before they get their bracket set up there. But the Lady Bears playing really good soccer as well.
Yeah, they are. And the interesting thing is some teams on spring break this week, some teams maybe next week. So a lot of teams dealing with that as they finish up the regular season or get ready for the tournament. So interesting to see how some of the coaches play these things. Did they give the kids time off this week or next week during spring break as they get ready for these state tournaments? Got to keep the kids sharp and on edge, but also you don't want to wear them out. It's been a long season with a long grind. So, Pierce County, of course, having a great season, and we'll see if they can keep it going.
Yep. Moving on up to AAA, you got Long County 4-3 going into playoffs, ranked number 14th there, 14 in the state there. But they got a little bit of work to do. I don't know where their seeding's going to fall. But like I said, 4-3 probably is going to put them as may even put them as a 2, maybe a 3 seed. So they may have to go on the road there for that first round. But again, those seeding brackets are still playing out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, with these, everybody kind of seems to be on a little bit different schedule. Again, spring breaks and starting seasons a little bit later, maybe, and weather being involved. Some of these teams are going to go right down to the wire in some of these regions of knowing when their seeding is determined. And so that kind of keeps, teams that are matched up against them in another region from maybe getting too early of a scouting report on them. So Long County may have to do some scrambling there to get ready for their first round opponent and put a game plan together real quickly there, depending on how much time they have between knowing who their opponent is and getting ready to play that match. But hopefully they can get it together and put a good showing there in that opening round game.
There you go. And you got Ware County in 5A. Ware County 8-2 on the season, ranked number 15 right now. Already seeded number 2. Greenbrier again winning that region there for soccer for the girls. But Coach Cook's got the Ware County girls playing good, 8-2 in region. I think their only 2 losses are to Greenbrier. And like I said, already seeded as a number 2. So then they're going to get that all important first round home game. Going into 6A, Kevin, you got Glenn Academy, just like the boys. The Glenn Academy girls rolling 10-2 on the season, only losing the 2 region games there, sitting there at number 7 in the state. Still haven't bracketed out to see the seeding there, but I would be pretty confident that Glenn probably goes in as a 1 and gets a home game there at Glenn County Stadium.
I think they are, Sean. The 2 games they lost in the region were to Lakeside out of Augusta and Grovetown. They also won a match against both those teams. And their final region match was a 1-0 win over Grovetown. I think that gave them a 1-game lead in the region standings. So that really made the difference. I don't know who's going to finish second and third between Grovetown and Lakeside. I think they're tied in the loss column. So there's probably some kind of tiebreaker. I don't really recall how those teams did against each other head to head. So if there's a way to break that head to head, they will. If not, they'll go to a tiebreaker. But again, Glenn in a familiar position. They did get tested by those 2 Augusta area schools that did, get a win against both of them. So Glenn in familiar territory again now. I was reading earlier this week, 6A is loaded. When they had this classification redone this year, they did 6A no favors, moved a couple of the powerful private schools into 6A, Marist, St. Pius, and Blessed Trinity. I think they have close to 30 state championships combined between those programs, and they're all now in 6A under this latest round of reclassification. So 6A is going to be tougher than it ever was. But I saw one coach made the comment, well, hey, 4A is tough, 5A is tough, 7A is tough. So these teams had to go somewhere. So again, it's going to be tough sledding in all of these classifications the deeper you go.
High schoolers, Did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal!
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
And Kevin, we saved the best for last. Richmond Hill in 7A. Richmond Hill 8-0 in the region, ranked number 1 in the state for 7A for girls. So really the Wildcats got it rolling over there on the pitch there for the girls soccer this year. Like I said, number 1 in the state.
Yeah, just like the boys, they used to go head-to-head with Glenn in this Region 2-6A. Now they're up in Class 7A and continuing their success. Again, they'll go up against some of those Metro Atlanta powers, the deeper they go, maybe even earlier. Depending on how the brackets are drawn up. So good to see Richmond Hill continuing that success over there against some of those schools they play, Valdosta, Lowndes, Colquitt, and we'll see if they can continue to get some wins there in the postseason.
Exactly. Well, Kevin, that's going to wrap it up for our girls soccer. Good luck to all of our teams here in the 912. Hopefully we'll be talking about a state champ, either in boys or girls, or hey, maybe both. You never can tell how things are going to break out when it gets into the playoffs. But speaking of playoffs, Kevin, we're going to talk a little bit about baseball playoffs because we're right in the meat. We're kind of toward the edge, maybe 2/3 of the way through the season. Got a little bit more region play to go. But last week was a huge contest, 3-game series between the Coffee County Trojans and the Ware County Gators. And congratulations to the Coffee County Trojans. They were able to sweep the Ware County Gators, winning game 1, I believe it was 1-0 in a great pitching duel. 2 outstanding young men on the mound. Errors cost Ware right at the end of the game, lose that game 1-0, go on the road to Douglas on the second game of the 3-game series and wind up losing that game 7-5 in a back and forth game where one inning one team was ahead, the next inning the other. I think there was 3 or 4 lead changes in that game. And then the last game of the 3-game series, Kevin, everybody basically just ran out of pitching. There was, it was 16-9. So what is that? 27 runs scored in that final game 3 there. Coffee comes out on top, 16-9 in that game. Ware had a couple of bad innings where I think one inning they gave up 6 runs, one inning they gave up 5 runs. So that's 11 runs there in 2 innings. And not going to win a lot of baseball games when you're giving up those kind of numbers. But congratulations to the Coffee County Trojans. They put themselves, even though right now they're still 4th in the region, they put themselves in great position to possibly finish 2nd. Greenbrier right now looks to be the class of this region. Greenbrier only losing 2 games the entire year, both to Harlem, no doubt, a smaller 2A school there from the Augusta area. But they've swept both of their region series. They swept Coffee, and I believe they swept maybe it was Bradwell. I think it was Bradwell. So they're sitting good. Ware still got to play Greenbrier. Coffee only has to play Jenkins and Bradwell, so they're pretty much in the driver's seat for that 2nd position, and it's going to come down to Ware and Statesboro who can win a couple of games down the stretch to figure out who's going to be 3, who's going to be 4. But again, I mean, even if Ware sweeps Greenbrier and Bradwell, that puts herself in a situation where I think they're still going to be tied with Coffee because I think Coffee can sweep their last 2 series, and Coffee, of course, is going to hold the head-to-head matchup in that. So we'll see how things shake out, but really been some good baseball played in this region. So we'll see who winds up going where for the playoffs. And listen, it doesn't matter because all these teams are really, really good. They could all make a deep run, whether they're 1, 2, 3, or 4 in this region. We'll see how it all shakes out.
Sounds confusing, Sean, but yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I just hope, good to see Coffee playing well, and good to see hopefully Statesboro making the playoffs, and Ware County too. I know been a little tough not having their full assortment of pitchers, and then I know they had some defensive struggles early, and the young team they had this year, some of that was to be expected, but hopefully they can continue to improve. I mean, even though it's late in the season, and put forth their best effort here down the latter stages of the season.
Exactly. Well, when you start 5 sophomores, you hope those guys become juniors real quick.
That's right.
Well, let's go and talk a little bit about Kevin about the Golden Isles baseball, because I know we got Brunswick and Glenn. Glenn sitting right there in a 3-way tie there for in the loss column, and Brunswick battling to stay in that 4th seed position as the playoffs approach there for both those 6A teams.
Yeah, when the week started, Glenn was on top of the region standings with 2 league losses, and then South Effingham and Evans both had 3 league losses, and all these teams are pretty close in the number of games they played, but things have gotten just a tad bit out of whack because when the GHSA moved the season up, some of these teams adjusted their region schedules as well. Some teams will not play a region game, region series that last week of the season. Some teams will play a game or 2. They got maybe a game in that first week of the season. They're going to finish up a region series. So the region schedule a little bit out of balance. So that's why I'll refer to things in the loss column more so than the overall record. But again, though, after Monday night's results with South Effingham beating Glenn at Adam Wainwright Field, we now have a 3-way tie for first in Region 2 6A. Evans actually on top of the region if you look on Max Preps and their standings with a 12-3 record. Glen Academy 10-3, and South Effingham 8-3. Of course, Evans off this week. It's Masters Week in Augusta, so nobody wants to go up there. And who knows where their kids are? They may be out of Dodge, or they may be working the Masters. But anyway, they're having that week off in terms of region play. Glenn, of course, and South Effingham going at it again Wednesday night and Friday night, games 2 and 3 in that series. And then Brunswick High still in position to possibly, they could move up into maybe 3rd, but to keep it simple, keep it from getting too confusing, we'll keep them battling for possibly that 4th position. They're 7-6 after beating Effingham in extra innings Monday night, and then Effingham is 3-7. Now, of course, like I said, Glenn and South Effingham games 2 and 3 this week, so we'll see what happens there. And then Glen Academy plays Evans next week, a big 3-game series. South Effingham will finish out the season against their rival Effingham next week, and they still have a couple of games against Grovetown that last week of the season on Monday and Tuesday. So they actually have, I guess, to finish this series, then the Effingham series, then 2 more against Grovetown. Now, Brunswick, if they can actually win at least 1 more game this week, that would be huge for them, because that would leave them with no more than 7 league losses, and Effingham would then have 8. And then if Brunswick can actually sweep this series, though, actually, if I said that wrong, if Brunswick can win 1 more this week, they would have no more than 7 league losses, and Effingham would have 8. And then if Brunswick could take 2 out of 3 next week as they finish the season against Lakeside, they would finish with no more than 8 league losses. And if Effingham lost at least 1 next week to South Effingham, they would finish with 9. So that would keep Brunswick in front. Now, if Brunswick can end up sweeping Effingham this week, it would basically kind of be all but over.
Right.
They would have 6 regional losses still. Effingham would go to 9. And even if Brunswick lost all 3 games next week, they would finish with 9 league losses. Effingham would have to sweep South Effingham to finish with that 9, and really it would be over because Brunswick would have the head-to-head.
Head-to-head, right.
Yeah, so by winning, by sweeping Effingham. So Brunswick closing in on possibly, sealing the deal there. And who knows what's going to happen between Glenn, South Effingham, and Evans right there in a dogfight. They're going to finish, we think, 1, 2, 3 in some order. Glenn's been on top all season long. We'll see if they can hold on. But again, 2 big games against South Effingham this week and 3 more next week against Evans.
Well, the good thing about it is, Kevin, if you love baseball, you can catch it all on 912sports.net. As I've got all the Ware games, you've got most of the Brunswick and Glen games that are remaining on the schedule with one of the 3 broadcasts that we have there for Glen Academy Baseball. So everybody check it out. Tune in. One thing we want everybody to do is mark your calendars, Kevin. We've got our 5th annual 912 Sports All Sports Awards coming up, where we name the Player of the Year in all sports except for football. Football gets their own banquet, so we leave them out of this one. So the All Sports Awards banquet coming up Thursday, April the 27th, right here in the same time slot on Thursday night at 7 p.m. So go ahead and mark your calendars as we give away a bunch of hardware, Kevin. I think we're giving away 36 awards this year in all kind of categories, so we're really excited for that. So everybody mark your calendars, April the 27th, 7 p.m., right here on Facebook Live. But, hey, appreciate everybody watching On Air with 912 Sports tonight. Stick around. We've got a little bit more coming up right after these messages.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.